Juneau has walking and hiking for the whole family. Refresh your spirit in our national forests, then share your day while indulging in some of the best food and craft beverages in the U.S. Multiple flights daily on Alaska Airlines will have you exploring in no time. Make that dream trip come true by visiting TravelJuneau.com.
Now back to the Sunday Show with Philip O'Donnell and Lamoya Burks. Brought to you by State Farm agent Derek McGarry on Texarkana's 104.7 KTOY.
And we are back for our first segment of the Sunday Show with myself, Lamoya Burks, and Philip O'Donnell. At this time, we have the great pleasure of having an interview with two beautiful ladies for the segment Melanin in the Media. We have with us Sydney Simone and Epiphany La'Sha. Now, you may be familiarized with those names because these ladies bless us and grace us every day in a type of media here in the Arklatex. At this time, Sydney, if you will begin with your intro. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. First off, thank you so much for having me on today. I definitely am happy to be here and appreciative at the same time. Hey, Tiffany. Yeah, like you said, I am a news reporter and multimedia journalist for Channel 6 here in Texarkana. So I'm telling stories just like you are each and every day for the community.
Well, thank you for being here with us. Epiphany?
Hello, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sydney. Thank you all for having me on this morning. I am a news reporter here in Texarkana. I lived in Texarkana for about 5 years, and I am as well as a radio host here at the Texarkana Radio Center. After this show, you can hear me on the Sunday afternoon mix. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and I hope you have a good day.
All right.
Ladies, let me kind of begin with the first question. A lot of our listeners may not necessarily know you or know your particulars about you. So let's just kind of begin with this. What you're doing as a journalist, is that something that you aspired to do, or is it something that just kind of fell in your lap? And Epiphany, we can begin with you.
Well, as a journalist, I always inspired to be a broadcaster, but I was more of looking on the radio side because I'm more behind the scenes type of person. But as I went through college, TV, news reporting just kind of fell in my lap. I applied for an intern, and I got it based off my professor's advice of telling me I should go into the news field, which was never a thought on my mind. And after I got the intern, just like blessings, it started falling out. They flew me out to Miami to participate in the National Association of Broadcast Journalists, NABJ. They have a big conference every year, and I got to participate on the student projects. And after that, that's when I got hired for a job in the TV news field. So the news field just kind of fell into my lap, but broadcast has always been on my heart.
Sydney Simone, kind of the same question. Is journalism something that you, from a little girl, you wanted, or you went to school and it's like, okay, I'm cute, so I'll try this, or was it just as luck would have it, and here I am today? So kind of what's your story?
I think for me, I've been around it since I was young. I didn't really realize I wanted to do it until about high school, going into college. So I had some relatives who worked in radio for several years in Chicago, some entertainment industry. For me, I was picking up the camera at a young age. I was an athlete from middle school, or from a young child to high school, rather. So I actually wanted to do sports broadcasting. But, went to school, majored in mass communication, came out, didn't have a job. So I ended up applying for news. And I ended up getting that job first, and that's how I got into news. So for me, I always enjoyed just listening to other people and telling their stories. I originally, like I said, wanted to do it for athletes, and I'm kind of doing it in general for news. So I'm kind of just walking in the path that has for news right now. But I did want to do something in the media field. I didn't know exactly what it was at the time, but I just knew I wanted to be in this industry.
Now, considering COVID and COVID protocols, surprises, challenges, talk to us about that. Epiphany?
Well, COVID for us, we have kind of been out in the wind since everything has started going on. I actually started working on TV right in the middle of the pandemic. So we've been out with it firsthand, talking to hospitals, city officials, trying to keep you guys informed and trying to keep ourselves safe. We wear masks everywhere we go. It gets hot because we carry heavy equipment, but we have been out firsthand in the community, keeping people informed of what's been going on. So Yeah.
Sydney, with your feedback, I do, as I was asking the question, and I remember seeing you out during the snowstorm sitting in your car. So if you want to elaborate a little bit more.
Oh, yeah, we are out where it's rain, hail, snow, sleet, tornado, wind, it's ending, we are out. So, yeah, with the snowstorm coming, I was out probably by like 3 o'clock in the morning, just watching the snow come in, covering it, trying to give you guys the best information to keep everyone safe. So then, like the people say, we are in a pandemic, but at the same time, there's still other things going on outside of the pandemic that we still have to worry about. I think, honestly, during that week of the snowstorm, I would say it seemed like we kind of forgot about the pandemic just a little bit. I noticed during that time, for some reason, masks kind of disappeared. Nobody was wearing them. We weren't really talking about it, but then it came back afterwards. So that was weird. But, yeah, working long hours during the snow coverage or storm coverage in general, staying out to make sure you guys are keeping uniforms so that you can stay safe and stay at home. So, along with Black Lives Matter, we doing that during the pandemic, too. So, just kind of maneuvering through that, being around so many people at a protest in the pandemic. So it's just about, maneuvering through it and staying safe, like Epiphany said.
Ladies, let me ask you this question. It's kind of the close or the last day, I should say, of Black History Month. You kind of, in that next generation that kind of the civil rights movement and what my generation has gone through, you kind of got a baton, and there are a lot more opportunities. Talk a little bit, if you would, about who those role models were, or maybe even the lack thereof, or who were the people that you want to acknowledge as being trailblazers in your industry. And Epiphany, we can begin with you.
I want to acknowledge Miss Amy Gamble and Miss Al Davis, because they paved the way for me in this industry with the radio center here at KTOY. You guys know that they are the founders of KTOY, and I actually got a chance to interview them both for a Black History segment on KTAL, and they talked to me. They told me their whole story of how they got started, and I really appreciate the hard work that they put in to have this station to be all that it is today and get to follow my dreams and to be on air.
Absolutely. Sydney?
Sydney Simone, kind of that same question. Any role models, trailblazers?
For me, yes. In terms of news broadcasting, I was just watching people, on TV, Soledad O'Brien, Roland Martin, Oprah Winfrey, just watching the news growing up and just kind of taking notes and seeing what they do. And like I said, I had some family members who did radio. Sean Knight did radio in Chicago, so I paid attention to him. I paid attention to a lot of actors and actresses, like Dimitri McKinney. I did watch Tyler Perry. So I watched different forms of people in the industry for a while just to figure out what I wanted to do, and then kind of narrowed it down. But just watching how they grind, how they work, how they respect the job, how they cater to their people, how they give back. So I just kind of watched that journey in addition to the work that they do. So it's like twofold, kind of got to focus on what you do in terms of on TV, but also, in the community, and people kind of forget about that part. It's not just go to work, show up, do your job, go home. You actually got to talk to people, get to know them, and be invested in what you do. So I kind of took notes on a number of people. So those are just a few that popped in mind.
Now, TV poses, especially in the sense of mass communication. I know about 20 years ago, textbooks as well as the etiquette in the field had, I hope it's in the past tense, a sort of stereotype especially in regards to African American women. It had, and that's why this segment is called Melanin in the media, because, and you all, I'm sure, recall, or have reminders that there were these certain stigmas or expectations regarding skin color, skin tone, makeup, appeal, that type of thing. Or do you all still feel, or do you feel that appeal? Does it affect you day to day, every once in a while? How is it, particularly being a African American woman in the media? Epiphany?
Well, I'll go to say Our news director is very laid back. He is also African American as well. And when it comes to like hair and makeup in the field, he's always like, just be yourself. Just make sure it looks professional. So me, I like to change my hairstyles. I go from natural curly to braids to weave, the wigs, and he is accepting of all of it. I haven't got any bad feedback about it. Like I say, he encourages us to be ourselves because other people are looking at us. Little black girls are looking at us. When we pull up on the scene, they're looking at our hair, how we present ourselves. So we're always encouraged to be ourselves, but there is still out there. People talk about it all the time. At our station, we are just blessed that all of us are predominantly all African American. But at other stations, sometimes there's only one African American in the room, and they're critiquing her hair, her makeup, and the way she dresses. But here, it's been pretty good. We've been accepted.
Wow, Sydney.
Yeah, we definitely are fortunate to have the news director that we do. Like you said, he's very accepting. He's also good about bringing in young black talent and kind of training them and bringing them up and like handing them off into the industry, the bigger world. So in that, I was kind of nervous too at first because I was just like, I like to wear jewelry. I have longer hair. How is that going to be perceived? Because when I was doing my research and coming through school, I noticed everybody had like a really short cut and kind of very conservative with the makeup and everything like that. So I was nervous about that, and I was kind of mentally preparing myself before I got here to kind of change. But like the person said, he never asked us to do that. He never told us we had to. He just be you. And I think naturally now the industry is starting to have a small little shift in terms of being super professional. Now you're seeing journalists more comfortable with rocking their natural hair. They're wearing jewelry. They have piercings in their. I have several piercings in my ear. I've seen some anchors with piercings in their ear, which is kind of like not normal, but people. I think the industry is starting to shift, and it could be the generational gap that's making that happen. So I think we're all starting to embrace who we are, and just realizing that we are people. We have personalities and things going on outside of work. But people on the audience also embraces that. They want you to be transparent too, and I think that's why we're so comfortable. We've allowed ourselves to kind of let our hair down and essentially just kind of be us on TV or in media in general, rather.
Okay, all right.
Ladies, let me ask a question, and I'm going to pivot a little bit here. The media is something that platform can be used and it can be positive and uplifting, or it's something that unfortunately can be demonized and it can be negative. We talked a little bit. I heard somebody mention Black Lives Matter. I think that was you, Sydney. But if you look at how the media has portrayed black people or black people who are activists, and I'm thinking about the Black Panther Party, they demonize them. In the political climate we're in right now, there's an attempt to discredit or demonize Black Lives Matter as if it equates to what happened on January 6th with the far right when they literally took over the Capitol or attempted to. Talk a little bit, if you don't mind, and Pip, I'm going to begin with you, about that negative portrayal of media. You talk about Chicago and Fred Hampton and the Black Panther Party, or you talk about Black Lives Matter, and it's like they're going to demonize and they're going to use this thing for something that's negative. And I don't know if you can overcome that or even if you're comfortable speaking on it because you're in the media, but we can't just ignore it. So begin there if you don't mind, Tiffany.
I think it just depends on the journalist, the integrity of the journalist, how he or she perceives that story, how they put that story out. Because all of the protests that went on in our area with the Black Lives Matter, us as journalists, we made sure that people knew that it was peaceful. It was for a change. Like, we were coming out here to do something good for the community. As far as twisting it up, like you said, the Black Panthers they were perceived wrong in the media back then. I think it just goes back to those journalists, how they looked at that group at that particular time and put them out in the media. Those journalists felt like they were wrong. They didn't have anything to stand for. But us today, as journalists, we feel like Black Lives Matter. We matter. So we put that out there. We look for black stories in the community to let people know what's going on. So I think it just depends on the journalist.
Kind of the same question for me, and you probably,
Yeah, I would
also point out,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. You go ahead because I think you're going where I want you to go.
Well, I was just going to say, yeah, I think it's one, the journalist, that's a big part of it. But two, sometimes people don't realize behind the journalist, there's people behind the scenes. There's a news director, there's a station, there's a company. And depending on where you are, that station might have you telling the story a certain way, or you might have a network behind you that wants the story being told a certain way. So then you kind of feel the pressure behind your bosses to kind of like shift and change the story. And just reading things online from other journalists, there were companies that were banning people from using certain words and certain things in their scripts. They're telling them what they can and can't say. So I think it definitely goes back to the journalists, but sometimes the journalists feel the pressure of management behind them, behind the scenes. Or either, it's either you tell the story a certain way or you lose your job. Because then I feel like at that time, they're shifting their perspective, to kind of, one, cater to their audiences, two, cater to the request from the higher-ups, just so, they don't lose their job. So then it then boils down to, do you, keep your integrity and, be honest and tell the story in truth, or you risk everything and kind of lose your position to kind of tell the story. So, I guess that's a decision you would have to make as a journalist. But I just want to let people know that sometimes it isn't always the journalist. Sometimes it's the company, just the people behind the scenes influencing them to tell the story a certain way. Or certain networks, in terms of national television, networks can control the story a little bit more. Like in local television, like people say, that we don't have an agenda. We just want to tell the stories and continue. That's it. Right. With networks, they're a little bit different. They can shape things a certain way or tell it in a different angle or a different light because they are a network. So I think sometimes people get confused between national and local media coverage, and they, not saying that national news is bad, that's not what I'm saying at all. None of it is fake news, but, I think people tend to yell at local journalists because of what happened on national news coverage. So,
Right. All right. Well, ladies, we certainly appreciate your time and your insights in educating us a lot more about media life in Spotlight. You beautiful ladies, we are very proud of you, and we look forward to seeing you each and every week. And you can catch Sydney Simone again, if you will remind us where we can join in on your talent.
Yeah, catch me on Channel 6 News weekdays, out in the field. If you're in Texarkana, you'll see riding around in the car out telling stories. On social media, I'm usually active on Facebook. I usually post a lot of the news content that I do on there, so in case you miss it, you can still be informed. Same thing with Twitter and Instagram. That's all Sydney Simone 1. So yeah, you can keep up with me there, and I'll make sure I keep you guys informed as well.
All right, Epiphany.
Again, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Epiphany?
Yeah, like Sydney said, you can catch me on Channel 6 at 5:30 and X6 Monday through Friday. And on Sundays here in KTOY from 1 to 6. I'm a Sunday afternoon host, like I said. And on social media, you can follow me at Epiphany La'Sha. And I do talk back, guys, so talk to me.
Right, yeah, same. I'm very responsive.
Yeah. Well, all right, Texarkana, you heard it first. Let's get out, let's support, get informed. And again, ladies, we thank you for joining us this morning for Coffee Talk here at The Sunday Show. And we will be right back after this commercial break.
The Sunday Show will continue with Philip O'Donnell and LaMoya Burks. Brought to you by State Farm agent Derek McGarry on Texarkana's 104.7 KTOY.
Sometimes in life, a sudden situation, a moment in time, alters your whole life and forever changes the road ahead. But we want you to know that no matter what, we are here to help you be prepared for the ups and downs and twists and turns through your life's journey. We are here to help life go right. We are your good neighbor. Always have been and always will be. This is State Farm agent Derek McGarry. Please call us at 903-831-2000 or visit us at derekismyagent.com.
KTOY is making 2021 Ever with a bucket list trip to Juneau, Alaska. You'll explore breathtaking glaciers, fjords hundreds of fathoms deep, and feast on wild-caught salmon. 5 days of awesome adventures and world-class accommodations on your bucket list trip from Travel Juneau. Ready to start packing? Register at Unclaimed Furniture or Clear Sound Audio Video to instantly qualify today. From the station going to the coolest destinations, KTOY.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-426-3569. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-426-3569 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-426-3569 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-426-3569.
Pick up the new KTOY 2021 year plan, and you could win $1,000. Ask for your planner today at Clear Sound Audio Video or Carter Adams Flooring. Then listen for your chance to call in and identify the featured business to qualify for $1,000 cash. Pay some bills, have some fun, or put it in the bank.
Awesome!
From the station with a plan for more winners in 2021, Jam and 104.7 KTOY.